Hello there. So we jump into Genesis as the first book of the Bible, and when we come to it, we have to remember that God is assumed automatically because he just is. He is God. We have knowledge that he existed before anything else. He is outside of his creation and literally created and enters into his creation to partake into what is. So we know that the Bible is obviously written originally in Hebrew and Greek and Aramaic. And we've used translations from way back in the 1600s with New King James Version. And there's lots of versions after that of the Bible that we have taken because English has changed in the last 400 years, right? It's changed a lot, 500 years or so. It's amazing how much has changed, but we still go back to it. And with computers these days, we can really get a good idea of what the original text said. Yeah, there's debate about it. Yeah, there's argument and questions about it, and that's okay. I think it's amazing that God allows that in of his word. You know, it's like he wants us to dive into it. He wants us to take it apart, look into the verses, pull it apart, see if there's any contradictions or what seems like contradictions. Usually is the Holy Spirit telling you there's more to it than that. The creation story, I believe, is a historically documented event, 7 days as it is unfolded in Genesis 1 and 2, as we see. You know, obviously there's a lot of doubt there, there's a lot of questions there, but I take it for what it says. In the beginning, God. In the beginning, God created. And even the Gospel of John starts with, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Jesus was in the beginning with God, and the Holy Spirit was there too. The Trinity, I may not be able to understand it completely, because in my little infinite brain, it's hard to understand all of it. But his ways are not our ways. So from the beginning, this earth being organized and divided, light being created and divided from darkness on the first day. The second day, he made the atmosphere and everything else. The third day, land divided from the sea. Fourth day was the sun, the moon, and the stars, which I think is interesting because he made the vegetation and all of that would require sunlight before there was sunlight. So clearly he was able to do that. The fifth day, birds and sea creatures were created. So obviously, none of this slowly evolved. It was all there. God created it. However he wanted to create it, he did it. We don't have to understand all of the ways we want to, because that's our human nature is wanting to understand. God made land animals, and he made man in his own image. God's creation. So it's pretty interesting that with all of the looking for human ancestors, we really haven't been able to find too much. But as far as the chapter 1 of Genesis goes, chapter 2, the creation completed, Adam and Eve, Adam in the Garden of Eden, of course, we get to the seventh day. On the seventh day, God rested from all of his creation. Adam and Eve, 2 trees in the garden. Then there's the tree of good and evil, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and the tree of life. Those are the 2 trees. And then he commands Adam. He gives the command to Adam before Eve is created to not touch the tree. That's interesting to me. It just tells you that God expected Adam to relay those commands. God may have just as well repeated the command to Eve, but it's not in the Bible that he did. It just tells us that God told Adam. At any rate, no helper was found comparable. No animal on earth, no matter how much the animals were Adam's best friend, no one could be like Eve. Eve was made to be a helper, a helpmate for Adam. God makes the first woman out of Adam's side, and he understands her. He understands immediately that this is the one that God made for me, and I think that's an interesting picture. The marriage of Adam and Eve, the picture of their relationship with us and how we relate to them. Jump into the next couple chapters after that. I've got a few seconds. We could probably cover chapter 3, but we'll do it in the next video. God bless.